Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and we have an outstanding panel. We have outstanding topics. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are 6 days away from the Xbox showcase. And you know what? No major leaks, thank goodness. We've heard some rumblings. We've people suggesting some things, but there hasn't been a massive leak of the show. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, folks, because you're going to start seeing that the media is going to try and ruin it for you. I have heard behind the scenes that they are keeping it extremely close to the vest. Only a handful of people know exactly what they're showing, and they're doing that for good reason. Nobody wants it spoiled. Sure, we expect Gear 6 to be there. Sure, we're hoping that we get something on Perfect Dark and maybe an update to Fable. Yes, so all those things. I am still praying to the gaming gods that I get my Banjo-Kazooie announcement, which is probably never going to come. But you know what? I'm going to be around for the next 50 plus years on this earth. So, God willing, I'll get that eventually. But listen, we have a lot of things happening. There are going to be shows Monday, which of course is today, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday evening is going to be about 90 minutes. It's going to be our prediction show. I'm going to have a bunch of people rolling in and out. It's only 90 minutes because I have to get up at 5 a.m. To get to the airport to fly out, because obviously I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be going to I was invited by Microsoft to go to the Xbox showcase, which is incredibly generous of them. I also am going to the IGN Live, which is happening on Saturday, and I'm also going to the Games Fest, Keeley's Games Fest, on Friday. So I'm flying out Thursday morning, and obviously we're going to try and give you a great show, but it's only going to run about maybe 90 minutes, give or take. Everyone's going to come in, drop their bars, and be out, so I can get some sleep before I go on a 6-hour flight to LA. Couple of things, couple of points of contention. While we're out there, Mrs. Boom, as she has done time and time again, she has put together 15 prize packs. And those prize packs are going to contain a bunch of things which we're not disclosing. You're going to have to enjoy the fun of opening up and finding it. I can confirm that they're going to have at least 2 of the Xbox Special Edition coins in that prize pack. Now, we were going to bring 15. Well, say we. She's not coming with me. She doesn't want to go. She's got too much to do here with work. But I was going to bring 15. And because of the luggage situation and how heavy everything is, we're only bringing 10. So what I'm going to do is the first 10 people that come across, first come, first serve, you get the prize packs. When I get back from LA, one of those shows, which will probably be the Tuesday or Wednesday show, will give away the other 5, and we'll mail that prize pack out to you. I'm also doing a Valari gaming pillow giveaway in LA. You find me, you try the pillow, we talk about it, and then you take the pillow home with you. So that's also happening. But let's get into the introductions, ladies and gentlemen. Fuzzy Belvedere, congratulations on, some private stuff happening behind the scene. Very proud of that. That's awesome. Welcome, kind sir.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. Kind of came in at the last minute, but took care of some family stuff. Got that all situated. So boys are now ours for life, kind of thing. Just proud papa moment type of deal. But
indeed, Father's Day right around the corner. Works out.
No, but it's been a great time to be a gamer, and glad to be here with everyone today. And man, showcase not too far down the road, so we got a lot of good stuff to get to. So let's do this.
We indeed do. And Crispy Bomb joining us. Normally, you never know when he's going to show up. Well, here he is. Gears is on the screen. Gears 6 expected to show up in a big way. We're all keeping our fingers crossed that there might be some sort of a shadow drop of the Gears of War collection, rumored to be existing. Hey, what's going on, Crispy? Thanks so much for joining us, brother. How you feeling?
Gears or we riot. Great to be here. Congratulations on 6 million views, bro.
Thank you, sir. Incredible. Yes, thank you.
I mean, I feel like I've been here almost the entire time. So, whatever show it may be on at certain points, but it's just it's crazy to think about, how long it's been. And, just we need this Xbox showcase to hit hard, and we're going to get into it.
Oh, yeah, they're going to go hard and deep. Oh, pause. Hold on a sec. No Diddy right there. What's going on? We just started this show. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. But listen, before we get into the three topics, we're covering inXile's Clockwork Revolution. We have a bunch of new information. I have a feeling that is going to be there in a big, big way. Whether that releases this year or not, well, that's going to be an interesting take. I mean, they have so many games. It could come out next year, but I'm a greedy gamer, so I say release it this year as well. We're going to be talking about the Xbox Series X selling out in Costco and Amazon and Walmart. I mean, what is actually happening? Well, I call that the Call of Duty effect, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, Call of Duty in Xbox Game Pass day and date. We're going to get a chance to see what that bad boy looks like after the Xbox showcase this coming Sunday. And of course, we're going to give our we're going to, sit back, relax, talk about what we're excited about. What shouldn't Microsoft or Xbox more specifically do at this showcase, and how big of a deal this is going to be. But before we get over there, obviously I made mention that thanks to the Volare Gaming Pillow, we are going to be giving away that pillow at this, E3 weekend thingamajig that we're having. You have Summer Games Fest, you got the IGN Live, you got the Xbox Showcase, and in between all the running around that I'm going to be doing and trying to get content, I will be doing live shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday while I'm in LA. Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom is going to go off without a hitch. We should have a couple of people that are out there in LA joining there, Kay Asante being one of them. Saturday we'll be doing live, and I think we're going to be giving our impressions of what to expect from the showcase on Sunday. And of course, we're going to give you what happened at both the Keeley event and IGN Live. And on Sunday, we will be doing a post Xbox showcase, conversation. That's going to be later on in the evening. I will have all that information once I get out there. But yes, there is going to be shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There will not be a show on Thursday because obviously I'm traveling. And on Monday, we will not have an Xbox lunch break special because I'll be traveling back to New York. So instead of missing two shows, I'm going to give you guys and gals two shows while I'm out there in LA from both Saturday and Sunday, which we normally don't do. Hey, Game Pass Dad, what's going on, dude? Welcome back. How you feeling?
Yo, doing good. Just had some technical difficulties before I got back on, but good to be back. Hopefully everyone's doing well.
Yes, well, we are, and it's good that you're back because obviously we have some big topics to get into. Can't wait to get your hot takes on the showcase happening this Sunday. But before we get into the topics, before we, as we welcome in over 500 people already here, I want to run the Volare Gaming Pillow commercial. It is 35 seconds long. It is a big deal for a mom and pop kind of an organization like Double Barrel Gaming. It's only run by two people. And last year, they reached out to us and they took a chance on us. We're small. They're small. They're run by two people as well. And they're exploded on the scene. And it kind of seems like the peanut butter and chocolate worked real good here because we've been doing some gangbuster numbers thanks to you folks buying the pillows. And more importantly, we've done so well that we are going to have a Double Barrel Gaming branded pillow, which will be launching later this year. I already put it out in the socials. A lot of people like the design. Mrs. Boom and I were through the roof excited for it. So if you are interested in getting a gaming pillow that will literally change your life as a gamer, all you got to do is type in DBG at 15 at checkout, and you'll save 15% off of your entire order. Please check out the commercial, and we'll be right back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the commercial. Again, if you are interested, you put the code in DBG15 at checkout, and you will save 15% off of your entire order. And of course, as soon as the double barrel gaming branded pillow is ready to ship, I will put that out on the socials where you can just link to it, buy it. It is a phenomenal design. I think I actually have the design here. No, I don't. Bloody hell. All right. You know what? While someone else is talking, I will find it. I will show it to you later on. It is dope. It looks really good. But listen, let's get into the new information of Clockwork, inXile's Clockwork Revolution. This is going to be a really, really big deal. Anyone that has seen this gets that BioShock kind of a feel. For me personally, I am very excited for this. This is something that is, it looks dope. I mean, when we saw it last year, Crispy, it looked done. Like it looked like it was ready to go. And you know what? We have a ton of new information. I'm just trying to find it. Why can't I find it? Do I hate when I do this to myself? I had it queued. I closed everything out. And I just want to punch myself in the face. That is the worst. Let's see. So, see if I can find it real quick. You know, while I look for it, let's okay, you know what? I do have it here. Now, again, the new information that we have, ladies and gentlemen, comes the way of not only Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, but we had seen a tweet from inXile themselves where they were talking about customization and deep RPG elements for this game. Well, we have a full breakdown of what is going to consist of a new IP that isn't exclusive to Xbox, that comes the way of inXile, who is incredibly talented. And this is what Clockwork Revolution is going to have for us gamers. It's going to be a deep first-person shooter RPG. It's going to have dark humor. It's going to offer full character creation and customization, branching dialogue systems, massive reactivity. It's going to have steampunk-related weapons. It's going to have weapon crafting and modding, dynamic time-bending combat, which sounds dope, interconnected role-playing, and it's going to have, Crispy, good and bad consequences. Very similar to what we saw from Ken Levine's BioShock. You know, you can take the children and get extra powers, or you can save them. I don't know if that's going to be something similar to it, but this sounds freaking dope. Let's get your hot take.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. inXile has the last game they released was what? Wasteland 3?
Yes.
That was in August of 2020.
Yeah, it's been a while.
They've had time to cook, and I believe that was already in development before Microsoft purchased them. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they've had at least 3 years to develop this game at minimum. And I mean, it sounds up what we always say, like they have studios that are RPG masters, and inXile is one of them. And actually, I mean, whoever does their Twitter is amazing. I love what they do. I mean, it is sometimes the most hilarious things. And you look at what they think about and how their humor is. I feel like it's going to gravitate in this game. I feel like we could see at least a launch window and show some more gameplay rather than the arguable cinematics that was shown, you know, earlier. I think they're at a point where they want to be heard, and this could be a sleeper game. I think it would be a bombshell if they said it's going to come out this year. I feel like that's not going to happen, but what they're talking about is what we've experienced in many RPGs. The thing is that they're going like full on steampunk from what we've seen. And it's very very different in the ecosystem that they're going to build, because I feel like they're doing it true to the form of like a steampunk vibe. And also I think there's going to be some in the evil or good type thing. I think there's going to be some choices that you're going to make and then you're going to regret making them type thing, but you're going to laugh about it.
Yep.
I feel like they're going to do a lot of little nuanced things that are even like social construct issues that you're not going to even realize you're doing, and then you make that choice, and then later that choice is going to be something that you didn't want, and now you're either going to push through it or try to back out in some way. I think that's it would be an interesting element in an RPG that I mean, the last time I really felt like I experienced that was like New Vegas type
Yes.
vibe. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's something there that they can only show us, because like I said, they clearly, if you follow their Twitter, they have some dark humor in their head. You know what I mean? And they do some things that you're like, is this funny? Is this like truthful? Like, what are we doing here? So I'm just intrigued because they're already talking about it, and that makes me feel like something's coming. Maybe it's not the showcase, but I mean, we can read through the tea leaves and say you guys are talking about it more and more and more.
Yep.
It's a possibility, and that intrigues me because it's one of those games, like first person or not, I can play by myself. And like I've always said, I love like Fallout and stuff like that because I can switch between third and first person. I've actually found I've been playing more in first person now again.
Me too.
So,
Well,
you know, it's
I
weird.
yes,
It's weird because, you know, like it's like I've always wanted, you know, like I'm a third person guy, and all of a sudden, like I feel more comfortable more and more in the first person. And I think it's the update. I think the frames feel better.
Yeah.
So like this game being a new release, a new IP, I think it has the legs to be able to stand on and say, we're going to be a little different. We're going to still be your traditional RPG in a way, but maybe there's this little nuance that really catches people, because that's what we're looking at games at this point. Do they have that little thing that really intrigues us? I believe that's why Cyberpunk is still relevant. You know what I mean? Because it has a different feeling to it. And I feel like they have the possibility to do that, because I feel like they have had the time to work on this game, and hopefully we want it polished at the end of the day. That's what we want. We don't want a bunch of bugs, even if it has a linear like feeling to it, like Outer Worlds or something like that. I think it would still gravitate because you have all these different elements that are involved, including your choices, which I think it seems like they're pushing towards that.
Yeah, the choice is going to be a big deal. I'm very excited for it. I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised and impressed with this game. Fuzzy, you know, I pulled a quote here. Now, I wasn't sure because I wanted to make sure before I said it, but as reported prior to the announcement, it's a steampunk role-playing game led by the makers of Arcanum, a Steamworks and Magic Obscura, and powered. This is where it gets interesting, folks, by Epic's Unreal Engine 5. This is super excited because we just got a chance to see what a benchmarked Unreal Engine 5 game looks like running on the Series X. That is Hellblade Senua's Saga. I'm super stoked for this. This game looks like it's going to be big. It looks like it. And again, I know that we're all kind of cheaping out and saying, well, it reminds me of BioShock. It does, sure. But I think it's going to be its own thing.
Yeah.
How excited are you for this game, knowing that this could be announced this year at the showcase? And if it's not announced this year, which would be fine because there are a lot of games coming out, once we get the full workup of what this game looks like running on a Series X, I think it's going to be a game that is highly anticipated no matter when it releases.
Well, I think the biggest thing, like Crispy kind of touched on it, this game, I think, since it's already been in development prior to the acquisition, I think this is what Phil and team saw that made them want to purchase them, kind of thing. So the fact that a lot of times we heard some mumblings in the background between Booty and a few of the other executives over at Xbox, that this was like a highlight of when they had all the teams kind of show their hand as far as what they've been working on, and a lot of the other teams were like jaw dropped after watching it. And then seeing the demo last year, or actually I guess it was it last year or early, maybe it was earlier this year. Time is all kind of blending together for me right now, but it's a very interesting looking game, and it's going to be their first time really going into like a first person perspective. But they've always been great as far as storytelling and RPG mechanics, like the Wasteland series. Well, before even the Wasteland series, a lot of the veterans or the main people there were the ones that worked on the original Fallout. Yep. And as much as I would like to also see maybe a remake of Fallout 1 and 2, but in like the third and first person perspective kind of thing, these were like some of the main programmers and devs during that period for that storytelling, for the mechanics, and for the choices and options that you have. And the fact that they have things where some of your options or your choices are going to have consequences where, well, do you travel back in time to fix what you broke, or do you kind of live with it, or is going back going to make things even worse kind of deal? These are all interesting concepts for a game that, we haven't really had something that really touches on like your choices actually mattering in a game kind of thing in a while. Like to some extent, you could look back at games like Mass Effect and such, but I'm stoked to see this, and the fact that it has that steampunk aesthetic. And that they're going to have weapons crafting and the deep RPG mechanics that you kind of expect from them, what they've had in like Wasteland and things like that. I can't wait to see what this game is like. And the fact that it could come out this year. I mean, yeah, they've probably been cooking for a while, but that like I wasn't really expecting this game, even though we saw it not too long ago. I wasn't expecting this thing until maybe 2026 kind of thing. Maybe it's like a cross-gen launch title. But if it comes out sooner and they have this thing ready to go, hey, I got to figure out how much time I have between this, Indiana Jones, and whatever else Xbox is going to be throwing at us, which Avowed's probably somewhere in there as well, type of deal. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty hectic, next few months, or at least from now until the holidays. But yeah, if this thing makes 2024. Yeah, this is going to be an extra loaded second half of the year, and the flood is already started. So yeah.
You know what's interesting, gentlemen, in chat, and I'm going to get to the super chats in a second. There's been quite a few of them. Game Pass Dad, if we look at the scope of the industry currently, Nintendo was always going to Nintendo, right? They're going to be great in single player fun games because that's just what Nintendo is. But if you look at PlayStation and Xbox specifically, two companies going in two opposite directions when it comes to their games. Now, Sony for years was known as the story-driven single-player, adult-themed or adult narrative type of content, and we all loved it. Now, maybe you didn't. I loved it, right? And we got a lot of content 2018, 2019, 2020, things started to shift a little bit. Now they're a shell of their former self because the only single player content that they have coming out is from third party, and that's not doing so great for them. They have now moved on to making multiplayer games. They did have Hellblade hit. I said Hellblade. Helldivers 2 hit, which is great. Everything else seems to be falling apart. And Concord was just looked straight up awful. It looked so awful. I don't even know what to say. But now you have Clockwork Revolution potentially launching in a year. Again, we don't know for sure. But even if it releases next year, what we have this year is you have Hellblade, you have Starfield single player DLC coming, you have Indiana Jones, you might get a new Doom this year. I mean, we don't know. They have a lot of single player content this year. And let's just say, for instance, Clockwork slips until next year. You might get a Fable next year. You might get a Clockwork. You might get the game from Compulsion, South of Midnight. It seems they are hitting, but specifically, I want to really dive into Clockwork Revolution by inXile. It is a new IP, is a first-person steampunk shooter. We saw it; it looked amazing. It's going to have full character creation, which I think is awesome. So everyone's story is going to be different. We're not playing a standard protagonist. We are playing a character that you will design, and I will design, and everyone in the chat will design, and everyone will be different. And I love the fact that it's going to be steampunk related. We don't have a lot of those types of games. It's going to have weapons. It's going to have dynamic time bending mechanics, which I think is freaking phenomenal. The last time we saw anything like that was Quantum Break, and that was done really well. How excited are you for this confirmation of things happening in this game?
I mean, I would say that it definitely seems like a little bit more than what you would think it is at face value, because there's a lot of comparisons to BioShock, like right off the bat, when you have like the dystopian, like futuristic city from the past that you're traveling to in order to have first person combat and like fight against the man. But like essentially the way that they're describing it, and like when you realize what type of games like inXile is like created in the past, like the Wasteland series and everything else that they've worked on, you realize there's a lot of opportunity for like a BioShock type game for sure. Like there's definitely that type of inspiration there, but you have so much more with like the deep RPG elements, which honestly, like I feel like with BioShock, when I played through it, like BioShock's an amazing game, but every once in a while, like for multiple playthroughs, it'd be always nice to have more options or more things to do or more choices in a game that's all about choice. But I think this might scratch that kind of itch where it kind of brings it into the future. You have more choices, and not only can you affect like your own story or like the way you play through, but it seems like what they're going for is like a way to be able to affect the entire world, and like what actually happens with like your environment and everything and the destruction and how the whole city was created. So I'm definitely excited about these new um things that have come to light. Like when I read that when you sent it out, I really, that was my first time hearing about all these deeper options here, and it makes it seem like so much more of what I really expected the game could be to begin with. Because it's like, oh yeah, we have another BioShock. I hope it's okay. Like when you look at it without looking further, but like when you think of all the possibilities, like I try not to like set myself up for like too much hope to where like I feel like there's a real problem with like games in general where you kind of build yourself up to think this is what this game is and that's what it's going to be. Like we saw people try and put Starfield in a box, or like when you saw Pal World before it came out, like a week. I didn't realize it was a survival crafting game until like a week before it came out, or until I actually played it. So I feel like there's a lot of things that don't really get communicated very well in like the preview stages, and people kind of run and hype things and use that to fuel other arguments or discourse about gaming. So I'm excited to see what they build with all these tools, and I feel like there's a lot of things that can happen. It definitely is shaping up to be more of a type of game that I would want to play, because Wasteland wasn't really in my alley with like like I'm not a big like turn-based guy or like strategy game guy. But definitely like a live action. Like I mean, KOTOR is probably the closest I ever got to turn-based. So I'm wondering how like the gameplay is, like whether it's like um completely like fluid action like a BioShock is, or if you have like that time travel element, if they use that to like help set up maybe some more strategic options, being like the pedigree that their company has with like the Wasteland titles. So it's going to be interesting to see like how it actually plays. But on top of that, with like the release schedule, like um speaking to that, like I feel like Microsoft's in a position with like Xbox and like the first party titles that we have, that I don't necessarily think they need to rush to like hack anything else in, because we already have like the four titles that we saw from like the previous, like the early beginning of the year update. I can't remember what they call it anymore. And
Yeah,
like
the
other
business
updates.
update that they
Yeah,
had. Yeah.
yeah, the business update and like the beginning of the year preview. But I mean, if you think about it, like we have those like Microsoft titles, but then you also still have Call of Duty coming.
Yep.
Like we got Avowed and Indiana Jones, and did Aura come out yet, or is that also the fall?
That's I believe that's the full, but I think
Yeah,
Aura's PC only to
yeah,
start, if I'm
right.
not mistaken.
Which still, it's like we have Avowed on the Xbox, we have Indiana Jones coming, we have Call of Duty, and possibly like anything else in between. Like, do
Yeah,
we?
Flight Sim 24.
Yeah,
There's quite a few things. Yeah.
like I don't really think necessarily that they have to rush this game to get it out, and we're really getting to that point where um like their strategy is coming to fruition where they don't need to crowd out the year. Like they have a consistent release schedule where they could set this game up to be the spring release of next year, or the fall release if it's a bigger game with more potential, whatever they'd like. I don't think they necessarily like, it'd be amazing to have it this year, but when am I gonna play it? Like, I don't know. Um,
That's a
because
great point.
I think also with the ability to, because honestly, like I'm not a big like Call of Duty fan. And I mean, this might come up with later topics, but I like honestly, if Call of Duty's in Game Pass, I'm gonna spend some time playing Call of Duty now that I don't have to pay anything extra for it. So like I feel like that extra crowds out the end of the year, which we also have, like you said, we have the Starfield update. Like, I mean, I still play Halo almost every single day, like,
Me
since they
too. Yeah.
continue to support that. Like, I'm really curious as to what they're doing with the future of Halo Infinite at the moment. But comparatively, like, PlayStation used to be good for having two, like you were saying, like 2 or 3, like, big tentpole titles, but honestly, they got really lucky this year that Helldivers took off. Like, Helldivers was amazing. I've been enjoying it, but it turns out that, Microsoft's strategy of releasing on PC seems to be something that they also want to follow up with, but they also decided to follow the strategy that kind of grounded Xbox in the Xbox One generation, where they're, like you said, using the party titles to pad out their ecosystem, and we've seen that that doesn't necessarily work. So I think that's a big part of the shift that we're seeing, but also a reason why Xbox doesn't have to race to stay ahead. Like they could put this game wherever it's right to make sure it has time to breathe, and that it has time to be discovered by players, and that it has enough time to be finished and polished, because we've also seen what happens when the games don't release in like a full-on state. So I'm excited to see where it drops wherever, and I'm glad to see it's more than just what it appears to be at surface level.
It's a great point. And to close it out, it just kind of give some more context to what you were saying earlier. They do have it here, and I say they, Hazardor Gaming has it listed here as a deep first person shooter RPG. So I don't think it's going to have any turn based combat. It's going to be a straight up, hey, Bioshock, shoot, run, duck, cover, shoot again, and hopefully a bunch of really cool powers to match. But listen, let me catch up on super chats. There's been quite a few of them, and we have a gift here from a generous member of the chat who's, well, he's given away quite a few things. EJ Jackson has given away a 3-month Game Pass code. He dropped it in here. Thank you so much for that, EJ. You're super generous, and you're always paying it forward, so to speak. If you did in fact get this 3-month code, by all means, please thank EJ Jackson for the generosity. The first super chat of the day comes away of Nightwolf 3186, who drops a very generous $20 super chat. And he goes on to say, "This is one of my favorite weeks in gaming, Showcase Week. It's the anticipation, speculation, and just overall excitement for a hobby we all love. Boom. Let's start this week off with a bang and end it on Sunday with a boom." Indeed. I love the puns, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity. And yes, I'm going to be there, man. It's not cheap, but it's going to be worth every penny, because not only am I going to have boots on the ground for myself to enjoy and meet a lot of the people, a lot of the community, a lot of the podcasters I've never had a chance to meet in real life, which of course is the fun part. But I'm going to get a chance to get to be, boots on the ground and cover everything for everyone in the chat. I'm looking forward for that challenge. It's going to be very busy. I'm going to be exhausted. There's no doubt about it, but we're going to have fun doing it. Silver Afro, a generous friend of the program who has been a channel member for 32 months. Brother, that is crazy generous. Thank you for the support. We don't know. we really like to turn the support around and pay it back, and we've done so, and we will continue to do so and bring it to heights that we've never been before. And that's because of generosity, like the Silver Afro, who has supported the channel for 32 months through channel membership. He goes on to say, congratulations on the 6 million views. Thank you so much, brother. That is very kind of you. And it is really like, it's like pinching yourself, because think about that. We've only been a channel since 2017. As a matter of fact, November 3rd, 2017 was our first video, which is up, and it is freaking terrible. I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't sub me. That's how terrible it was. But I didn't know. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But I keep it there for perspective. And in under 6 years, we got 6 million views. That is thanks to you folks for supporting the channel. He also says, you are one of the best in the business. Dude, that's very kind of you to say. Never change. Nope. What you see is what you get. I can get 1 million subs tomorrow, and I'm just going to be the same guy. This is how I was in uniform. This is how I am out of uniform. I like being a good guy, and I like being nice. I really do. I enjoy being a good guy. So thank you for the very kind words. Atticus drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the host of Podcast Beyond gave the state of multiplat an A and said, PlayStation, y'all can do no wrong. Xbox tax is real. Congrats on 6 million views. Well, first of all, thank you for the congrats. Thank you for the generosity. And I mean, if that is not the Xbox tax in Word format, I mean, did you folks see the report today from VGC? Andy Robinson's reporting that the adapter for the PlayStation VR 2.0 is removing basically all of the important things that you would like, that you would need, like, I don't know, HDR and all this other stuff. Why even bother at that point? It's such a half step. It's what Sony does. Don't buy it. Let's it on shelves. When it's in 5 and below, I'll pick it up. But that's about as much money as I'm going to spend on the PlayStation VR 2.0. Because if Sony ain't going to support it, well, shit, I'm not going to support it either. Silver Afro, wow, he drops a very generous $10 super chat on top of his support for 32 months. He says, my wife and I absolutely love the Volare pillow. Unfortunately, they don't stack promotions. Oh, no way, dude. So you were never recognized for my 2 pillow purchases. I would never have found out without your promo. Dude, listen, at the end of the day, we're helping a small company. They're run by 2 people. We, Mrs. Boom and I, are the only ones that do this channel with no help. And we don't really want any. We like the mom and pop approach. It's grounded, it's real, it's reachable. It hasn't gone over my mohawk. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And listen, brother, as long as you're enjoying the pills, because those freaking things work. And then again, at the end of the day, we're helping a small company out. And that's really what we want to do. That's why we haven't partnered with any other big companies, because we kind of like, keeping it small for right now. But thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you for the additional generosity. Of course, I already mentioned EJ Jackson's gift of 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So thank you so much, EJ, once again. Adidas 20 has been a channel member for a very long 17 months. Says, what's up, everyone? What's up to you, brother? I love the consistent push for C Mustard. I mean, C Money, who hates olives and loves mustard, and I don't care what he says. Gaming Nerd Austria, who's been a channel member for 14 months. Thank you very kindly for the support. He says, welcome, Boom and panel. Member since 14 months, and I didn't regret a single month of it. Still appreciate your hard work. You are one of a kind. Dude, that is so nice of you to say. And that's why we do it. And when you get comments like that, it's worth all of the work that goes into it, and we have fun doing it. And that's the end of the day. And oh wow, Gaming Nerd Austria has gifted 5 double barrel gaming memberships. Holy crap, dude, that is so generous of you. Thank you. If you did get one, please thank this man. We definitely appreciate the generosity. So let's talk, gentlemen, about the Xbox Series X selling out. Now, this was running rampant, Crispy Bomb, all weekend long. First, you saw that it was selling out in Amazon. Then you heard from different kind folk that it was selling out in Walmart. Then we got a chance to see, and I don't remember who posted it. It was a pallet of PlayStation 5s sitting there, and there was one Xbox Series X there. Now, some people tried to say that it was fabricated, and we got confirmation of someone's parent that actually works in Costco and says, no, these are selling out. Is the Xbox Series X right now, today, selling out the Call of Duty effect? Because I think it is. I don't think people understand the power of this IP, and I don't think people are really putting the ones and ones together to make two. This is going to be a big year for console sales. Now, again, console sales is what Sony's been using. And we know that in the last couple of quarterly reportings, Microsoft has lost, I think it was 31 and then it was 29. They've been down pretty big with console sales. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that you can literally play their games anywhere, especially on PC. PC Game Pass is a big deal. But this is the Call of Duty effect. It's going to not only show up big here, the showcase is going to sell consoles. And when Call of Duty releases this fall, it is going to move console mountains. What are your thoughts?
I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I think I've said this many, many times. The one thing I'll tell you is that don't mean a damn thing when it comes to people that, the casuals, not the people in the chat, not the people on this panel, the casuals that game. They love Call of Duty. And, Treyarch is one of those that, I think just about every game that has been Treyarch that has done it has been amazing. Okay. For the Call of Duty fans, it's kind of like, I'm Gears. I looked at the Coalition and it was epic back in the day. Okay. And they've, regardless of what people think, I feel they've nurtured the IP. And Treyarch is one of those, and it's a Black Ops. And people are intrigued. And I feel like people aren't understanding that. I think there's going to be a really wholehearted look at yourself moment if you play the campaign. And that's what I'm intrigued about, because their marketing right now is messing with people's heads. And I've watched it on TikTok. I've watched it on Facebook. People are like, when
people
they
are
get
freaked
these,
out by that. The Channel 6 news truck rolling around. Like, what is it? What's happening?
Dude, I'm telling
what's
you.
happening? I actually had
You
a
know what
friend
I
of
mean?
mine call me up and say, did they actually deface the statues, the monument? I'm like, no. That didn't really happen. That is it's just marketing.
I think they're gonna, because it's so far along. I think it should have been called Gulf War, but that was like the
I like that
nuance
name
of what
better,
it
to be honest
was.
with you. Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like that's, I feel like, because that's the start of where we're at now, really, because the misinformation over our lifetimes has been crazy. And I think they're playing into it in a way. And I think it comes down to, like, Treyarch is always quiet. Like, everybody notice that? They don't say a damn word until they say, hey, this is going to blow your mind. You know what I mean? And they've had the time. And I feel like maybe, like, it really doesn't have anything to do with Microsoft, to be honest with you. I mean, this is before the purchase actually went through. I think this is going to push people to say, hey, like, this Call of Duty, it's in Game Pass. They already said it. Okay. Like, Xbox officially said it, people. If you don't believe it, I don't know what to tell you, because it's right there in front of your face. All right. They're going to do a whole entire, like, probably I'd say 20 to 30 minutes about Call of Duty. When's the last time Call of Duty done something like that?
It's been I'd say it's been a long time, dude. Honestly,
You know what I mean? Like, I just look. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty, but I have been intrigued in certain stories. Like if EA wants to bring back, Battlefield in the right way, bring back a new Bad Company. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like have that story that I could play. I could learn how to use the controls again, all those things, and then have a good multiplayer. And I feel like Call of Duty is like multiplayer all the way. Like even they released just multiplayer at certain points. Okay, like let's get back and understand that there's a story involved, and like Call of Duty is a pinnacle. Like I played the original Call of Duty. Okay, like I played the original Medal of Honor, and they were both like meh. And then I played Medal of Honor Frontline, which was D-Day.
yes,
Which was insane. One of the
really
hardest games I've ever beat in my life. And guess what? Doesn't show up on any achievements or nothing because we didn't have none back then. Just telling you. So I beat it, and it was one of the most emotional and hard games that I've ever played because you had to go through things and do them a specific way because they were staying true to at least part of our history. You know what I mean? And there are certain areas that haven't been touched. And one of them is Desert Storm, all those things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't do it right, you messed up. It's part of our history. You know what I mean? So I feel like they have something to show. And I feel like this is the time is now. And to bring that in as a part of the showcase, I mean, it's technically after, but I'm sure they're probably going to do the same thing they did with Starfield and get people enticed to watch the latter show in some way. So you're probably going to see Black Ops 6 in the showcase in some way, but like, hey, stay tuned for later.
Or a more deeper dive, if you will. Yeah.
People nowadays are just like, oh, what is happening now? They get enticed by Call of Duty if they don't see any Call of Duty in the showcase, and then not get reminded to go watch after. They're not going to do it. I mean, this is the social media aspect. This is the internet aspect. They have to be deliberate, and I feel like for once they're being smart about it, and they're being like, hey, this is happening. Just remember, it's after the show. We're going to go deep dive, but I feel like they're going to throw a trailer in there during the showcase.
Oh, there's no doubt, Crispy. They're gonna do exactly what you said. There's gonna be a trailer. We're gonna see it. It's gonna be gameplay, and stay tuned after the showcase for a deeper dive. And that's what we're gonna get. And it's probably gonna be about 35 minutes. It's gonna give us all of the info. It's gonna give us a release date. And it's going to be a big deal. I think that particular game is going to move consoles. And it's moving Series X consoles now. If, Fuzzy Belvedere, Microsoft does what we've been talking about for the entire year, come the fall, they win Black Friday by dropping a Series S for $200. They drop a Series X for $300 or $349. They come with Game Pass for 30 days, and boom, you are going to have sellout fever. This is going to be a Cabbage Patch situation all over again. Hopefully no one's getting clocked or beat up like they did in the 80s. Those moms beating up each other for the Cabbage Patch. If you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. Basically,
Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, Tickle Me Elmo. If you know, right? Look, there are some people in the chat here, a lot of people that I've never seen before. I want to say everyone here is welcome. You could be a PlayStation guy or gal. You could be a Nintendo guy or gal. We're here just talking. If you don't believe that the Xbox Series X is selling out, Spider-Man 356 in the chat, who's from Canada, said Xbox Series X is sold out there. Now, he didn't specifically say what store, but the fact that it's sold out in Canada, the fact that it's selling out in Walmart and Costco, says that this is actually happening. Call of Duty has the power And we're now starting to see that come to fruition. Let's talk about it, man.
Well, we kind of saw a little bit of this when the ABK deal was first announced, and we saw people posting at Walmart, some of the Walmart employees saying, "Be careful which console you purchase," kind of thing, because it's now being acquired by Microsoft. And that was like 2 years ago, and there was a run of Xboxes selling out where you couldn't find Series S's or Series X's on the shelf, and it wasn't during them having a limited hardware or limited inventory or anything. It was just a matter of the buzz was about, oh well, they're buying Call of Duty and they put stuff in their service, so they had a run for like a month or so. I think they were up a good bit compared to the previous year over year kind of deal. But given the holidays, and especially the fact that we see a lot of bundles and things like that, like Xbox has done bundles themselves, and the fact that some of these stores like Target and Best Buy wind up doing bundles around the holidays, all they have to do, like the stores themselves, if Xbox doesn't do it, they'll do it where it's like pick one of these 3 games to get free with your purchase of a console. The Series S is already a low price of entry, and the fact that they're going to have all this stuff in Game Pass, and I know a lot of people will say, oh, you have your digital library at another platform, why would you move over? Well, if you're just doing this as a subscription thing, and you could play and access all of the same Call of Duties that you've had before on this subscription, then you're not really losing that library. And well, a lot of stuff being, cross progression and cross save type of things, at least on the newer ones, you're logging into Activision anyway. So your same account carries over. So it's going to be great to see how well this thing does during the holidays. But this showcase, I think, is, I won't say it's like make or break or anything like that. I just think it's going to be almost like a flood of new customers. Like, you have to realize there's still a lot of people on the Xbox One. There's still a lot of people on the PS4. If they're finally looking at a chance to upgrade because they're the buy, Call of Duty every year or buy Madden every year kind of crowd, and a lot of those games are, available through Game Pass, where you don't have to necessarily throw the $70 up right at the beginning and the extra 30 and whatnot for your favorite team stuff. I think this is going to be the final push that, well, not really final push, but the big push that Microsoft will be able to make, and the casuals will probably come in droves, just for the simple fact that now they have more of a reason to upgrade to next gen. Because, like I said, there's still a lot of people on the previous generation. The price drops that they'll probably have this holiday, the pack-ins that they'll probably have this holiday.
Yep.
That the big draw of Call of Duty, like Call of Duty is bigger than any of the platforms anyway. So let's be clear, that's enough for people to take notice. And it looks like with these things selling out, it's not like they're running out of hardware or having like constraints on CPUs and stuff. AMD wants to push out as much as they can. They just know that, maybe at least prior, the things weren't moving as much, so there isn't as much demand from Microsoft or even PlayStation to produce more consoles. But hey, maybe that's not the case now for Xbox. And come the holiday, we'll see if there is still this mass selling out, which I think it will be. Xbox is going to have to make sure they get these store shelves stocked as best they can. But just understand, casuals will take notice of this. Us, the hardcore that listen to gaming news and gaming podcasts and are in party chats talking about this stuff on a regular basis, versus the casuals, it's going to be a different mindset. And the fact that they can see that they can have access to all of the Call of Duties, even maybe some of the ones that they purposely skipped, like what was the one with the V? I forget what it was now, but
that was not a good one. Vendetta, not Vendetta. Oh my god, I'm thinking about Def Jam.
It was like it was before Modern Warfare. I forget what it is now, but it's one of those things where now they can play it in the subscription without it being like an extra, because Call of Duty games don't really go on sale unless you're buying them secondhand at GameStop.
Right.
Yeah. You might as well just try it through, something like Game Pass. And I think that the fact that it's available on the console, it's on your phone, it's on your tablet or your PC or through a browser on maybe an older PC, as long as you have somewhat decent internet, it's worthwhile. And I think a lot of people will be willing to give this a try. It's just the one thing I hope that Microsoft or Xbox in general learn is that they have to make sure that not just those that are in the know about Game Pass, but and it looks
There's
like
got to be a
Call of
big
Duty
push
is
for
doing
it.
its own
Sure.
homework itself, but make sure every one of those Call of Duty commercials, make sure you say available in Game Pass, and
Yes.
I think that will take care of itself in the long run. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I'm glad to see that these things are doing well at this point. Between now and the holidays, I expect it to do even better. But yeah, it's always great to have more people join the Xbox family or the Xbox ecosystem. So welcome aboard for those that are new to it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the numbers don't lie. It's selling out. People are reporting it. I don't see that why they would report false numbers. I went myself and checked at a few places, and yes, it was sold out. But listen, at the end of the day, Game Pass, Dad, this is going to be a big deal. This is why they pushed the envelope to get ABK done, to get Call of Duty. I know that everyone's like, "Oh yeah, mobile, mobile, mobile." Yes, yes, they wanted King. We all know we're all aware of that. But the truth of the matter is that Call of Duty is a legacy IP that moves the casuals. And if there's a way to incorporate Call of Duty into Game Pass, it's going to move a lot of people. And again, no one is suggesting, ladies and gentlemen, that people are going to abandon their libraries. That's not what we're saying. Now, some might. The casual audience doesn't really care. They have their Call of Duty games. If they are a Call of Duty fan and they have, 6 Call of Duties digitally download, well, guess what? One of the big things that no one seems to be talking about is the main fact that Call of Duty, every freaking one of them, is going to be dropped into Game Pass at one point. So you're going to logistically have Call of Duty 1 through current in a subscription service. And the thing that is not foreign in 2024 Game Pass, Dad, is subscription services, because at least everyone, that is anyone, has 1, 2, or even 5. I have like 15 of them. It is not like the casual audience. Yes, they're casuals, we understand that, but they understand subscription services. And if you tell someone that, hey, you can get a $200 box with Call of Duty, and they go and they get it just for the Call of Duty, well, Madden's in there, 2K's in there, FIFA's in there, on top of everything else, plus all of their own games that they're already there and will be released. I think this is going to be a running theme moving forward. What are your thoughts and opinions on the Xbox Series X selling out in certain locations?
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point that not only is the next Call of Duty coming to Xbox, but um like all the previous Call of Duties are about to be added as well, which I think Microsoft, like, going back and fixing the servers for the older games is like a pretty big boon for a lot of these casual gamers that might want to revisit it. Like, I mean, a lot of those games don't necessarily hold up, but I mean, the nostalgia factor is there, and there's a lot of people that are going to try it. Um, but yeah, overall, like, just we're still at the very beginning of this entire process of these acquisitions and getting the roadmap of games coming out to where we're actually starting to see the effects. Like, I mean, definitely it's cool that we're seeing the reports of it. Like, I guess we'll wait and see how it really, like, comes to fruition. Like, by the end of the year, like, is there going to be a shortage, or are people going to start trying to scalp them? But like, the fact of the matter is, like we've all said, like, these are the games that actually move the needle for the majority of gamers. Like, the hardcore section of gamers is not necessarily the core of, like, the profit for these businesses, and that's the reason why there are, like, the games that they make and why they do what they do, because casual gamers do move, like, they're the ones that buy consoles, and um they might be a little bit more fickle with where they play, or more likely to move from place to place. Because all of us, like, we all own multiple ways to play games. Like, I've got my PC, I've got my Xbox, I have my Switch, and I'm more than happy to, like, play PlayStation games that come to PC when I want to play them. Like, Helldivers has been one of my favorite games this year. So it's like the games that most people are playing, though, are, like you said, like, I didn't even realize, like, until you just said it, that you're right. Like, you do have the opportunity to play games like Madden and FIFA in Game Pass as well. Like, on top of that, we're gonna have Call of Duty. Like, that is pretty much like a perfect storm of, like, the games that most people play, which is like Call of Duty, Apex,
Yes.
FIFA, Madden. Like those are some of the biggest grossing games out there aside from like Grand Theft Auto. Like those are the games that really move the needle for a lot of these companies and keep them afloat. So I think the fact that Microsoft has kind of cornered the market on Call of Duty now, whether you like Call of Duty or not, like I'm the type of person that back after probably around the Black Ops days, Black Ops 2 is when I really stopped buying it yearly. I was like, I don't really need this yearly. And then when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, that's when I got back into it. But if during that entire time I had the option to play that game as part of Game Pass or a subscription service that I already would have been paying for, like I definitely would check it out. And going forward, now that it's going to be in Game Pass, as long as it's part of a tier that I pay for, which hopefully we don't see any changes to that like right away this year, but we'll see. Um, as long as I have access to it with what I'm already willing to pay for, then of course I'm gonna check out that game every year. Like I try and check out like all the major releases that interest me into Game Pass, and like Call of Duty is a game that I grew up with and really spent a lot of time with. So I would certainly give it a shot, and I feel like it makes it easier to bring gamers together and be able to be social around your games if everyone has the same library. So I think it could be a really good thing, especially if like these more casual gamers or people who play with their friends a lot, like if they see their friends just being like, well, I don't necessarily want to buy Call of Duty, but I can get an Xbox and get Game Pass and I can still play with my friends. Like I feel like it over the course of the next few years is when we're gonna really see the impact of this, and this is still just the very beginning. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens this holiday season, and I do think it would only pick up if Microsoft can continue to make sure that Activision, like helping Activision make these games as best as they can, then I really think that it's gonna be interesting how things move forward because this wasn't a play just for immediate Xbox Series X sales. This was a play for the future of the Xbox brand going forward for like every generation going forward. So it's not just right now that we're necessarily like that Microsoft is focused on. Like I'm just focused on playing great games and making content about them. But what Microsoft is focused on is like shaping their service for the entire future that it's around. So I think this is going to be a big step going forward and like really seeing the impact of like how the subscription service grows and whether we'll ever see sales numbers again or just monthly active users is going to be really interesting, and I do feel like it could be something that has an impact.
I agree. I think you're onto something. And I want to welcome in. Wow, look at this, folks. Nearly 1,400 people watching live. That comes the way of, let's see, what are the numbers? We have 752 people, 750 people on YouTube and 624 people on Twitter. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out Double Barrel Gaming. Hopefully, you like the content enough and the conversation enough to consider subscribing. Mrs. Boom and I are on the hunt for 15K, and we can get there with your help. Listen, I think everyone knocked it out of the park. I think at the end of the day, this is going to make a big dent in the where Xbox currently is as a platform as opposed to PlayStation. Are they going to take over the number one spot? I don't think so. PlayStation is still very popular. It's still the market leader. They didn't do them, and I'll put it to this way, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't do themselves any favors whatsoever with that showcase or that state of play, more a state of disappointment. It was very lackluster at best. They opened with Concord, which looked absolutely like complete garbage, a complete ripoff of 10 other games you could possibly imagine that did it better. That game is going to flop. Now, for me, as an old guy who likes platformers, well, I talked about it last week. Astro Boy looks Astro Boy. That's how old I am. Astrobot looked phenomenal. I cannot wait for that game. It's probably going to be $70. It's Sony. It's probably potentially going to be a pack in for the PS5 Pro. I'm not buying a Pro. I will buy that game. That game looks really good. It looks like a lot of fun. And like I said, I platinumed the original that launched on the PlayStation 5. That was a lot of fun. This looks to be just as good. But yeah, Sony they're floundering right now, folks. I'm sorry. There's gonna be people in the chat that be like, oh no, Boom, what are you talking about? They're doing great. Yeah, okay. You could, if you believe that, I got a bridge in New York to sell you for $5. And you'll be
We've
good
been
to go.
through this. We've been through this ourselves. Like
Yes.
that's what people don't realize. Like we've been through this. Like 2022. Yeah, no, not good. Right? I mean, let's be honest. Like, dude, you guys are putting egg on your face because you're sitting here touting for something that ain't no better than what we've seen before, and that's where I think you're at as well. Like, dude, like, okay, Astrobot, great. Okay, what else you got? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. They literally have nothing. Yeah. Well, such is life. You know what? They're gonna have a secret showcase in September, supposedly. We'll see what happens with that because the insiders. They always seem to get it right. If you like wrong answers, but it's fine. It's fine. Listen, let me catch up on some super chats and some channel membership messages, and then we will get to the last topic. And we're going to be talking about the excitement for the showcase in 6 days. It is time as an Xbox fan to really, really ramp up your excitement. They're not going to disappoint. They're going to deliver in a big way. There's been no real leaks as far as I know, and I haven't been following the leaks, so we're not going to cover leaks here. We're just going to talk about excitement and why you should be excited about what's happening this Sunday. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank LMNOPO, who's been a channel member for 26 months. My God, dude, that is crazy generous of you. He says, happy Monday. Always enjoy your shows. Well, that's very kind of you, LMNOPO. Thank you for the ridiculous support. Boss Mod Lethal Papa, literally the best mod in the business, walks quietly and carries a really big band stick, as he should. Pause. And he's been a channel member, ladies and gentlemen, for 56 months. My God, I think that's as long as the channel's been around. Lethal, thank you, brother. That is crazy kind of you. He says, have a safe trip to the showcase and enjoy yourself. In my opinion, you definitely deserve it. Again, very kind words. We super appreciate it. The fact that we got the invite from Microsoft to be at this event means that we're doing good work, and we're very happy and grateful for the invite, and it's going to be a lot of fun. My last E3 experience was in fact the last E3, which was 2019. I haven't been back since, and I'm looking forward to the end of the week to hang out with people that I've podcast with, just never met in real life. That's going to be a lot of fun. Atticus drops an additional very generous $2 super chat, and he goes on to say, Black Ops ad on iHeartRadio app. What? That is, that's that Activision marketing. No offense to Microsoft, and I don't want them to give me the band stick. Do what Activision is doing with your Xbox first party games, and you're going to be aight, as the kids like to say, because yeah, they know how to market. I mean, like I said, I have people asking me if the monuments got defaced. It's so ridiculous, but people believe marketing. So what are you going to do? Very generous friend of the program, Sir X-Man, drops an outstanding $2 super chat. And he goes on to say, Halo Master Chief Collection just got mouse and keyboard support for console. Oh, that's awesome. If you are a mouse and keyboard guy or gal, good on you. But I am an elite controller. And speaking of elite controllers, I have to hang my head in disappointment. My Xbox Elite 2.0, the Halo edition, is, well, the left bumper isn't working. I can't throw grenades. Sucks to be me. I mean, I know I have the sticks and everything, but I the paddles, I don't like those paddles. My brother does. So I got to find out if I can get it repaired. I'm nervous to send it to Xbox because the last time I did that, Mr. Aaron Greenberg had to get involved to help because I had sent the limited edition Gears of War Elite 1 controller, and they're like, no, don't worry about it. We're going to send it right back to you. It's going to be fixed, left bumper and everything. Because, again, back in the day, still left bumper. And they sent me a regular black one. And I was like, oh, man, I'm screwed. But no, I wasn't screwed, actually. Aaron Greenberg, it's a funny story. Aaron Greenberg reached out to me in a private DM and said, hey, listen, I'm going to have somebody from Microsoft reach out to you. And we're going to send you the Gears of War Elite 1. We're gonna replace it. I was like, oh, yeah, what about the black one? Oh, don't worry about that. Keep that. They let me keep the Elite 1.0 black one, which I wound up giving away to Mooch, as a matter of fact, because that was actually my way of thanking Mooch for putting me into the podcast game. At that point, I had just joined his show, and it was just me just being a generous guy. I'm like, well, I already have one. I don't need two. So I gave it to him. And, we're always paying it forward. And yeah, Aaron Greenberg got involved and did get me a brand new Gears of War, which I have. I have it in storage. I don't use it very often. I probably shouldn't have used the Halo one, but such is life. It is what it is. I look to buy a new one. That joint is like $350 on eBay. I'm not spending that. So I gotta see if I can get it fixed. But Will Lewis drops a very generous $10 super chat. Thank you for the generosity, Will. He goes on to say, saw an article saying that PlayStation SOP is showing why PlayStation is kicking Xbox's butt. Let's see how Xbox counters with their showcase. Xbox planned show for a month. PS just threw theirs together at the last minute. And it just was such a bad. I'll put it this way. Microsoft basically just has to show up, right? Like, we know everything that they're doing, but I keep hearing that this is going to be the showcase of dreams for Xbox. That is all I have heard. I've been told, be prepared. You're going to be quite impressed. So take it with a grain of salt. That's what I was told. I think they're going to show up big. And after that very, very embarrassing showing by PlayStation, they're going to knock it out of the park. But Crispy, I want to go to you next on this one. This one isn't the biggest topic of the show. I just want to get your check the temperature on how you're feeling about going into the showcase in 6 days. Because again, if you're comparing apples to oranges, Sony shit the bed. That's the bottom line. They had a terrible showcase. The best thing that they had was Astrobot. That was the best thing. The worst thing was that gas game. Concord looked like absolute rubbish. It is going to flop. There's no doubt about it. Xbox is going to have a Call of Duty follow-up showcase just for Black Ops 6. That's big. But what's your excitement going into here? Because we keep hearing Gear 6. We keep hearing that something Halo might be there. We might get something from Forza Horizon 6. We could get something from Perfect Dark. We could get something from Fable. I mean, the list of games of what we know and potentially some big surprises is only 6 days away. Where do you fall in the excitement?
I mean, Avowed, maybe figuring out that Everwild could be a different game than what they showed, because people didn't like it at that point. Got a lot of down votes. State of Decay 3, which I feel like that one's gonna blow people's heads off if they come, if they actually show it. I don't know. Undead Labs has been sitting there chilling, and you could say what you want about Ninja Theory, and like, their one like gripe is Bleeding Edge, which that's where I go and say, like, Concord remind me of Bleeding Edge, because it didn't get me hyped. It didn't. You know what I mean? And that didn't get me, that's your multiplayer game. I don't know what to tell you, bro. It's interesting because, like, I mean, like I've said before, if there's no Gears at all, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna be a douchebag. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be very, very, very angry. I'm going to not hear anybody's, nuances. I am a Gears player, dude. I have like a year and a half in Gears of War between all the games in my life. Okay, I'm not going to have it. All right, you gotta show something. I don't even care if it's like, just Gear 6 and that's it. I don't care whatever it is. You gotta show something from Gears. You've been cooking way too damn long for us to sit here and just deal with it. Okay? And that's where I go and say, look, like Undead Labs, they've been sitting there cooking for a while. State of Decay 2 came out, what, 2019, 2018? Something like that. It came
It's
out
been a
right
minute,
after.
dude. Yeah, it's been a minute.
It came out after Sea of Thieves, and that was like one of the next titles. And then Gears 4 came into Game Pass and Gears 5. You know what I mean? Like, there hasn't been much that has been exclusive that has come to Game Pass. You gotta look, Call of Duty, we've already talked about it. You have that part of it you've already announced, which I think was really smart, regardless of what people think, that it's going to be an extended part of the showcase. Great. You know, you have to have people gravitate towards your subs or service, whatever you want to call it, but they're going to sub to your service. And you have to go that route, because there are going to be people that are only see Call of Duty, and that's all they see, and that's all they care about. But why not get them to really understand what this service provides? And it's going to require some content that looks realistic at times. I mean, you look at the games that have come out, regardless of score or not, if they look good, people will continue to support them. The thing that Xbox has over PlayStation is that they have multiplayer games that they've supported for years. And that includes State of Decay 2. I think State of Decay 3 might be the one that people get their mind blown, because I feel like they've been quiet, and then on top of that you have all these other games. I mean, Avowed, I mean, that didn't look great when we saw it for gameplay, but it was gameplay, and we can all agree on that. But they've taken the feedback, and Obsidian's one of those game developers that will implement it. I don't understand why people can hate on what's about to happen. But when they do, I'm going to laugh at them, because we're going to get variety. We are going to get some really good looking games, probably some games that you're going to be like, like, it's not my jam. But is it? I mean, how do we look at Pal World, for example? Like a nothing burger, right? And all of a sudden it blew up. So who are we to say that a certain game is not going to blow up? And then on top of that, having that Call of Duty effect, that there's something there for those casuals to watch. I think this is the absolute monumental opportunity for Xbox to take mind share from PlayStation.
Indeed.
Because they screwed up so damn bad that I'm not a platform gamer, but I said that actually, like, my girl would play that and she would love it. Like, where are we at? Like, let's be honest here. Y'all used to give us BS about this stuff. Okay. And I say not every game's for every gamer.
Indeed.
And that's the whole damn point. Like, there's variety in Game Pass. And I think by having Call of Duty at the end, it could showcase, if they do it right, the monumental task they have to be the Netflix of gaming. Because I still subscribe to Netflix. I still pay way more than all the other sub services, because I love the variety they give me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I love that fact. And in gaming, we have that with Game Pass, but I think a lot of people need to realize what we really have with Game Pass. And that's something that they're going to have to realize. And I think Call of Duty is the perfect, storm to throw out there and be like, yes, we understand that not everybody's going to love this, but we are down with it. And I think with the single player narratives right now, I mean, Avowed's supposed to be single player. You got Clockwork Revolution. You got South of Midnight. They're going single player, but they also realize that not everybody's going to like it, and that's okay. But guess what? You add that in with Call of Duty. What does that make? That makes, somebody that plays Call of Duty is going to like this. Oh, somebody that plays Call of Duty is going to like that. Think about it. It's a great opportunity to show what you've been working towards, because at this point we haven't seen enough. We've seen enough, but certain people haven't seen enough. And I think if those certain people change their narrative, their thought process, and actually say like, yo, there's a lot of games here, that will change the narrative in general. And I think that's what's important and should be important to them.
Absolutely. Again, you said variety. That is the spice of life, as they say, and we're seeing that having a plethora of games from indie all the way to AAA there's something there for everyone. This showcase, though, I think is going to deliver in monster ways, Fuzzy Belvedere. I don't think that they can mess this up. I really don't. I have heard that they're literally balls to the wall loaded with stuff. We're going to get a chance to see many of the things that we've already saw a couple of years ago. We're going to get some games that are going to come to fruition. I expect everything that we've seen to get some sort of an update. I expect Fable to be there. Supposedly, Perfect Dark is going to be there. Again, Certain Affinity has been working on a Halo project for quite some time. That potentially is going to be there. You said it yourself, Forza Horizon 6. Maybe they show up in Japan. Maybe they show up in Tokyo and they show that off. Who knows? Where do you rest with your excitement levels on what is happening in just 6 days?
Well, I think this will be like one of the first years that I'll be looking forward to not just the new games and updates on, games that have yet to release, but also on their continued support for games. Like one of them being with Forza, I'm hoping that they have an update where there's going to be either listings for like the new tracks, or at least like the drag racing or even drifting for that matter. But I'm looking more for the drag racing update or maybe mode being added to the game. So looking forward to see if they do those things, but also Shattered Space. Like let's be clear, when it comes to Starfield, I'm really looking forward to that DLC. Want to see what it's going to be about. And I know that they have other updates for it planned. They just did a recent update not too long ago with the 60 frames, things like that. So I'm curious to see what Shattered Space winds up bringing to that game and what other updates they mix in there with it. And then they're going to have the official mod tools out there as well. So we saw plenty of mods as is. And with the official mod tools, it'll probably make it even easier for those creators to do what they do. But when it comes to updates on games that we're aware of, but just don't know when they might land, like your Perfect Darks, like your State of Decay 3s, I'll be happy to see an update on those. Like I know last year we got to see an update on Fable, which was great. Got to see some gameplay. I know people were like, "Oh, there wasn't gameplay." No, there was gameplay mixed in, and then there were some in-engine stuff. But if we get to see more Fable, even better. But I mainly want to see State of Decay 3 and Perfect Dark, which I'm pretty sure they're going to make their way there. And if they can swing in having Gear 6, so Crispy doesn't have to ride, and I'm pretty confident they'll show it. No, because like we, as much as the gaming media wants to like downplay the significance of Unreal Engine 5 and the usage in like Hellblade 2, a lot of Xbox studios are using that engine.
Yep.
And I want to see what Coalition is going to bring to the table. We already saw with them, helping and being in like maybe an advisory role for those at Ninja Theory, and you see what they put out. And they're also doing something similar with Undead Labs for State of Decay 3. And then, a lot of the other games, like even, what do you call them? Clockwork Revolution is going to be Unreal. I believe, although I thought originally it wasn't Unreal Engine 5, but I'm hearing that even Perfect Dark is Unreal. So I'm curious to see what all these games are going to look like. Like if Hellblade is the bar now, and these other studios have had time to cook and had similar lessons and time, and they share that information across all those studios. I can't wait to see what some of these games are going to look like. And then there's going to be the surprises, the stuff that we don't even have a clue about. Like we know that there's tons of projects like, and I hate to bring up some unfortunate news. I hear Avalanche is doing some layoffs. That aside, they're the ones also doing Contraband. Now, I don't want to speculate too much, but typically when companies do stuff like that, that means whatever project was in the oven has wrapped up. So they can slim down between that and the next project. That's not the greatest way of doing business, but that's the way they've been doing business for years. So that means Contraband was probably going to make an appearance at the showcase. But aside from the ones that we already know, I'm curious to see what Double Fine is working on. Like we know Jack Black kind of slipped up and said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in their next project," and they're already got things working. Like this was after Psychonauts 2 was already released, and we know he was one of the voices there. But can you imagine what the next title, whether it's one well, I'm pretty sure it's one he's been in before. Was it Brutal Legends makes a reappearance? So maybe we see that. And just the sheer fact that there's going to be tons of third-party developers that have partnered with Xbox. Like we've heard Sarah talk about like the many trips that they've taken to Japan, and they have, well, not just Japan, but even Korea, South Korea, as far as like some of the studios that they've been working with for this initiative to get a lot more of those style of games on that platform. And I think she said something like over 40 different studios that they're partnering with. So I'm pretty sure we'll see a handful of those, in the next few days as well. So looking forward to that. Also, the Project Shaolin, which is the Wu-Tang ARPG type game. I really want to see that. And then I think there's going to be some marketing deals that they have. Like, even though it was recently announced that Undisputed, which I've been able to play that on PC in early access, it's coming to console in October. And I have a feeling it's probably, since it didn't show at the State of Play, it's probably going to show up on Xbox's stage. And I've had a ton of fun with that game. They got a few things that they got polish before they do the official 1.0 release, but or at least on console and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure they'll get all that taken care of. But that game already looks amazing, and to see what it's going to look like on the Series X and the Series S would be awesome. Having that on stage, but I'm also hoping, and this is like one of those like things that were made mention, but it's supposed to be coming in 2025. And me being the NASCAR fan I am, iRacing is making a console and PC non-subscription based racing sim, a NASCAR racing sim, which a lot of those developers are the same ones. If you've heard of Papyrus and Sierra way back in the day and were a NASCAR racing fan before EA got their grubby hands on it, that's the team that now runs iRacing is going to be making a console and PC, game that you can play against the AI. You don't have to just do the online. You don't have to pay the monthly subscription and stuff. That should be coming in 2025. I'm hoping that makes an appearance because, there have been NASCAR games that have that Xbox has had the marketing rights for in the past. They've even had the NASCAR rights for like Forza a couple of years back as well. So I'm hoping that makes an appearance. But then there's like other games that we're pretty sure some studios have been working on, and we have no idea what that might be. Whether it's, something new from, Obsidian, which, yes, we know Avowed's going to be there. Looking forward to getting a release date for that. But they were talking about doing, was it like 5 games in 7 years or something like that? And we've already gotten like 3 of them. And we know probably Outer Worlds 2 is another. So there's something that's going to be between Avowed and Outer Worlds possibly that we might finally get to see or hopefully get to see. So there's tons of stuff that I'm looking forward to, not just from Xbox first party studios, but also Bethesda, which Bethesda Online has something that they've been working on for the past 5 years. I'm kind of thinking that maybe it's an MMO Starfield-ish kind of game. Some people are saying that there might be a Star Wars or, other licensed IP type of stuff associated with it. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. But yeah. And then Activision, we already know they had that one studio that was being incubated and that they've been working on something. And I don't know if we get to see it or if it's a CGI kind of thing because they usually do that stuff to help recruit more devs for that studio, or whenever you have a new form studio and you have a new game you're working on, the best way to recruit is to have that CGI trailer out there, so those that are in the dev space can be like, yeah, I'd like to work on that project. So maybe we get to see that as well. Something from elsewhere. Before they really even welcomed into the Xbox family or the Microsoft gaming family, they'll have something to show at the showcase as well. Let's see, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Also, World of Warcraft, I think we get to see more detail on their expansions, which if you're into that, that's going to be huge. There's no BlizzCon, so no BlizzCon. This will probably be the best place to get some insight on some of the things from Blizzard, as well as the expansion for Diablo, which I'm looking forward to that as well. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's like gamer Christmas pretty much, and I can't wait to see what gifts we're going to have under the tree for the rest of this year and going into 2025. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I think it's going to be a party. I'm very excited to see what's happening. Hey, Gamer Pass Dad, let's get your final take on your excitement levels going into the showcase. It is 6 days away. And I know that Crispy has already said if there's no Gear 6, that he's going to riot. I think there is going to be a Gear 6. As a matter of fact, I don't remember who leaked it, but they said, and it could have been Grub. And again, take Grub for what, whether you believe me or you don't, that they're going to show more than Gear 6 at this showcase, which tells me that we could get the Gears of War collection that has been rumored to be a real thing. And I think it's time for Gears. I really do. I think it's time to show us what Unreal Engine 5 benchmarked once again by the masters of it. Where are your excitement levels going into the showcase?
I mean, I would say like I don't necessarily expect to see anything too crazy. Like I feel like we have an idea of like what's coming down the pike. Like I'm definitely excited, but maybe not overly hyped, but I would always love to just see something out of left field that we don't necessarily expect, but I feel like we're at a point where there's like a good amount of an idea of what we're most likely going to get, but at the same time like I don't feel like that's a bad thing. Like I would love to see a point where like we get the actual like Microsoft staples like Gears, Fable, Forza, Halo, but have them all be like at a really good spot. Like that's not necessarily a disappointment, but I don't know. Like I really don't know what to expect. I've kind of been a little bit out of the loop of the showcase hype, but I do feel like there's just so much being worked on that no matter what, I'm optimistic because there's so many possibilities for what we could see. And for something like this, I'd really like to see like just things that we haven't seen as much of. Like so I think Nine Lives just said in the chat, like Outer Worlds 2. Like honestly, I'd really love to see where that game is at. Like that was one of my like favorite games of like the last, I don't know when that came out at this point, but at the time frame it came out like 2018-ish or 2019, I can't exactly remember, but when the original Outer Worlds came out, like that was a game that I thoroughly enjoyed and would love to see more of. But really I don't have any specific things that I expect, and I don't think I really have super high expectations, but I feel like I know that we're not gonna have a year where we just get nothing but trailers. Like we're gonna get some big news. Like we're not gonna have to settle for whatever Xbox wants to show us, like state of play style. Like they're doing a summer showcase, and at that point, like it's nice to know that there's enough being worked on that they're proud to show it off and put this effort into it. And it just makes me happy to continue being part of the ecosystem and like not question where I decide to play my games or like what services I decide to pay for. So I would say like optimistic and excited to see what's next, but like no crazy super high expectations that our minds are going to be completely blown, but I'm always open to that experience, you know?
I mean, it's a fair take. We don't know what to expect. I know it's going to be a big show. They have a lot to show. We're going to get some release dates, which I would imagine are going to come. We'll get the official release date for Indiana Jones. We'll get the official release date for Avowed. You might get an official release date for what else? What else is coming out? Aura, A History Untold. That'll be out for PC. I mean, listen, I'm really hoping for some Gears news like Crispy. I'm excited to see where the future of the brand is for 2024. and what's happening in 2025. We're going to get a bunch of information there. Look, it's 6 days away. Sony's state of play was very disappointing. Nintendo, we don't know what they're doing. We know that they're not showing the Switch 2. And right now, the stage has been set for Xbox to not only take away mind share from these two behemoths, but really snatch onto it and move people into the platform. Call of Duty is going to help in a big way if they're smart and they drop the Series S to $200 and the Series X to potentially $350 or even $300, and they include Game Pass. It is going to sell consoles. You're going to move people. You're going to move people into the ecosystem. That is how strong Call of Duty is. We're getting a separate showcase. We're going to get to see what that game looks like running on a Series X. I cannot wait. But listen, this has been a great 90-plus minute show. If you enjoyed it, please, before you get on out of here, folks, hit the like button as we cross 605 live viewers. That is freaking crazy. We have, 900 people watching on X. Like, that is just bonkers. So, hey, listen, if you're on X, hit the screen, press it twice, get into YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We'd greatly appreciate you help us getting to 15K. Hopefully we can do that by the end of the year. That would be pretty dope. In a year that we just celebrated 6 million views in under 6 years for the channel, which is just crazy. Will Lewis drops an additional very generous $5 super chat, and he goes on to say they have to announce some sort of Game Pass drop for ABK games at the showcase. It has been 9 months, and the only game they've given us is Diablo 4. I think that's going to be there in a big way. Now, is that a part of the actual Call of Duty section? Maybe. I think that's where you're probably going to get, hey, this is what we're doing with Call of Duty. You can start playing games that have been, that got the FPS boost, that get HDR, all the bells and whistles starting today. And we're dropping 5 games a week or a game a week until the end of the year. I don't know how they're going to do it, but you're going to get a lot of games. And it's going to be everything from Call of Duty 1 all the way through current. That's a really big deal. That's a really big sale. It's going to drive people who left during the 360 days back into the ecosystem and potentially move people that are on PlayStation that haven't been really happy with what's going on over there. And maybe they come and they join Team Xbox. We will certainly see. But let's get everyone out of here. We'll start first with Crispy Bomb. Brother, sell your brand. Where can people find you on social media? But more importantly, what else you got going on, dude?
At Crispy Bomb on X. Not Twitter anymore, people. Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me on Breakfast with Boom Friday, 10 a.m. Yes, apparently he's going to be from L.A., not like right next door. But we're going to figure it out. I will be there. I'm ready to roll. The time is now, Xbox. That's all I really got to say. Love y'all. We'll see you later.
Appreciate you, brother. Love you as well. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. As always, Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell your brand. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel, which is, of course, the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre? What else you got going on, and where can people find you, kind sir, on social media?
As always, greatly appreciate you having me on here. Always awesome being on here with you guys. Love being on with Crispy Bomb and Game Pass Dad and New Boom. Just love you guys' takes and just chatting about our favorite hobby, gaming. You know, it's always awesome to do this in the afternoon. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to check us out. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate that. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on social media. Just do a search, whether it's X, Threads, Instagram, whatever. Just do a search for Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can find me there. You can also find me on FSP later on tonight on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I too should be available for the Breakfast with Boom 10 a.m. on Friday. Hope to see you guys. Check us out there as well. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. And Game Pass Dad, welcome back, dude. Great to have you here. Great to get your hot takes. Please, by all means, sell your brand. Where can people check out your YouTube channel, find you on other podcasts, and more importantly, check you out on social media?
Yeah, thank you again for having me. Good to be here whenever I can make it. Things been a little bit busier in the real life job and family and comedy world for me, but You guys can find me on YouTube. I do have my own channel under Game Pass Dad where I make a lot of short form content, sketches, and post like streaming content, as well as the occasional gaming commentary video, which I'm trying to force myself to get more into. You can find me streaming on Twitch underneath Game Pass Dad as well, or keep up with me on Twitter under Game Pass Dad, or essentially any other social media platform that you use. I'm there, Game Pass Dad, but primarily focusing on bringing back my my YouTube as much as possible with the more frequency of commentary videos in the second half of the year, and always happy to make it here to the Mr. Boomsticks show, as well as fun speculation Monday and Friday nights when I can. So you can catch me there also.
Well, thank you for being a part of today's show. Super appreciate you now on the panel regularly. We like your hot takes. Appreciate the opinions. Gamer by Choice drops a $5 super chat. And Gamer by Choice, thank you for the continued support. He says, judge the show on what it is there and not what its expectations, because because that is not fair to Microsoft and to Xbox. I just judge shows based on what they show. I mean, that's a fair assessment. I don't think you can. I mean, we've seen the gaming media review a game like, oh, I don't know, Hellblade 2 because it's not God of War or Horizon. It's not that game. Why are you reviewing it like that? It's fine. And I agree with the showcase as well. Do not judge it for what's not there. Judge it for what it is there. But people have expectations, as we all do. And hopefully someone like Crispy does get his wish. And there is going to be obviously a Gear 6 reveal, which we have a strong suspicion is going to be. And real quick, we have another, let's see, go to the private chat here. Some breaking news. Big Mad Mo, who's been a channel member for over 2 years, says Skydance Entertainment and Paramount have come to an agreement for a merger per CNBC. That means that Sony is out. Sony will not be buying Paramount. This was worked up about an hour before we went live. We will cover whatever the ramifications of this on a later show this week if we have the opportunity and the time. But yes, it looks like Sony is out of the potential merger or ownership of Paramount. I don't think they have the money, to be honest with you. But again, thank you, Big Mad Mo. Certainly appreciate the support, and of course, thank you for the hot take. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us today on the Xbox Lunch Break Special. A big thank you to all of the super chats and channel memberships that continue to come in. Once again, shout out to EJ Jackson for giving away a 3-month sub to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Because remember, no show next Monday because I'll be traveling on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.